What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and a changelog update was released on D&D Beyond, as it is officially early access day to all of this stuff on D&D Beyond for all of the 2024 Player's Handbook. There also is available a set of core rules for free, which also means it'll be very exciting when we get into our next class-based video and talk about the cleric, because the cleric rules are available for free for everybody. So we'll be able to talk about that. Same thing with fighter and so on. So anyway, we're going to dive into that. And then I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about things you may not know about your homebrew. While it hasn't changed, it might be a tiny inconvenience that you need to update. And I don't know if there's a quick way to just copy and paste that, unfortunately. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive in, but go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, it's just a small click for you guys, but it means a lot for me. Here is the changelog. I'll have a link to this in the description if you want to check it out. But basically, I've read through this once before, so I'll kind of just skim it and go over the things that are of importance. Basically, they said they're going to continue to update this, and they didn't want to delete the previous two articles they made that were the ones that said, like, we're going to force switch you to everything. They said they didn't want to remove those for transparency's sake. They want to keep them here. They're just listed as deprecated, as you can see over here on the side. Basically, what are the frequently asked questions? What's going on here, right? Will my previous character sheets be affected? The answer is basically no. 2014 characters will be living in the world of 2014 characters. Things are going to get flagged with a legacy tag if it was something that was from the previous 2014 Player's Handbook, or if it was content that had been updated. It'll be easy just to show you in a minute, so we'll get to that. And you also have the option to toggle off legacy content if you want to just not see that. The tooltips, if you live in a 2014 character, you will see the 2014, you'll see access to both of those. Conditions like exhaustion are going to show both, right? If you click on exhaustion, it'll show you the current rules, and then beneath it, it'll show like legacy description, and it'll show you all of that. Will I still have access to the 2024 spells reference in the first changelog? You'll have access to all 2024 spells and classes that are available through the free rules, which we'll talk about in a minute. Players who have purchased them will have access to all of the content. Players using legacy content as a source to play with 2014 characters will be able to see both versions of the spells. So if you're a cleric and you want to choose Healing Word, it's going to give the option for Legacy Healing Word, which would be the 2014 version, or the newer version. In that instance, just healing more overall. Probably going to want to take the new one if you're given the option. Certain terminology will be updated. You just can't change that. It'll be things like inspiration will be shifted to heroic inspiration. Race will be shifted to species. Cast a spell action is the magic action. Use an item or an object is called the utilize action. Nothing's changed. It's just a different term to make it marry up with the new version here. Will functions that consult spells, example, warlock invocations, be affected? The answer is no. All right, so we have given access to the free rules. To celebrate early access to the digital 2024 Player's Handbook for Master Tier subscribers, we're giving everybody a sneak peek with the Cleric, Fighter, Rogue, and Wizard spells and a subclass for each. These free materials are available under the Sources tab, and they will be expanded to include one of every class with a subclass for everyone on September 17th. So come September 17th, everybody will have access to the free version of the base class, as well as a free version of one subclass. Again, I think that the intention there is for that this is what we'll likely see in the Creative Commons. This will mean that you can start building and possibly releasing your own 2024 updated versions of classes and subclasses for profit once things hit Creative Commons, meaning that you can make a Kickstarter using the 2024 rules, essentially. Again, more to come on that in the future. Nothing is fully out at this point, and I will likely end up having Noah on here to talk about that from a legal perspective, whether or not you should wait, things like that. Okay. The basic free rules from 2014 are not going away. They will still be available. Access to the 2024 character rules and homebrew are not changing. Again, that's pretty much as written there. Everything's going to be available. You'll be able to continue to creating characters in the 2014 style if you want. No problem there. You'll have access to everything you had access to. All monsters will be there. They'll just be flagged with a legacy badge if there is a newer version of them. Here's an image showing like Centaur and Centaur Legacy, Changeling and Changeling Legacy. Again, that means that there's a new version of the Changeling, let's say, in the 2024 Monster Manual, whereas the other one will be flagged as Legacy. Okay. We've seen the legacy. If you're familiar with things that have happened, they reference here the Goliath, right? It came out in Elemental Evil Player's Companion, and then it was updated in Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse. It actually was updated in Rime of the Frost Maiden first, and then Monsters of the Multiverse, and that has been updated since again in its release in the 2024 Player's Handbook. So older versions will be flagged as legacy, and that way you can just find them if you'd like to use those. Right. And again, it talks about here's the list of things that will be flagged in a legacy version, right? Spells from the 2014 Player's Handbook and basic rules will be flagged, monsters that have new versions, and so on. Again, character sheet is the same for all content. Will reflect character options used to build them. We'll show you that. Again, expanded rules is going to be everything that's official sources, that's not legacy. Basically, everything Tasha's Cauldron, Xanathar's Guide, and so on. Legacy is anything from the 2020 or 2014 rule books that have an updated version of the 2024 version of that, like the Monster Manual, Dungeon Master Guide, Player's Handbook. And the category also includes other non-core content like one grung above. All right. We talked about the changes in terminology. Racial traits become species traits. Proficiencies in languages become proficiency in training. Initiative will become initiative score. Again, description has become background. Influence and search have been added as actions, and so on. They show you here. Top here is 2014 initiative. Here is initiative, and it shows your initiative score. Previously, it was just referred to as your initiative. Now it is officially canonically referred to as your initiative score. Simple changes. Again, here's a condition showing the image showing the blinded condition, right? Here's the current rules, and then here's the legacy definition, just making it easier for you to see. The order in which things appear on the character reader has been shifted, but that's not a huge deal. And then we'll get into probably the most important part would be the examples of backwards compatibility, right? So you create a cleric using the 2024 Player's Handbook as your source. At level 3, you get to choose a subclass. You own the 2014 Player's Handbook and decide to use the knowledge domain from that book. You can select it, no problem. We can show you that in just a second. As you level up, your subclass feature will unlock according to the cleric's progression in the 2024 rule set, and the domain spells you have will be forced to be the 2024 versions of those spells. Okay? As well as, again, the base options as well. You create a sorcerer using the 2024 Player's Handbook. You own Tasha's Cauldron of Everything that has the Aberrant Mind subclass. At level 3, you want to take the Aberrant Mind subclass, but you're going to be forced to use the 2024 version of that, which is known as Aberrant Sorcery. So again, reiterating what they've said from the start, you can play a 2024 character with 2024 rules. You can play a 2014 character with 2014 rules. You can play a 2024 base class with a 2014 subclass, unless that 2014 subclass was updated in the 2024 books. In this example being Tasha's Cauldron of Everything had the Aberrant Mind. If you want to switch to 2024, you're going to be forced to use the 2024 version of that, which does have some significant changes, but for the most part is largely the same, the biggest being the adjustment to re-choosing your kind of psionic spell options. We'll get to that when we get to the Sorcerer. You create a Warlock using the 2014 Player's Handbook. You want to use the Fiend subclass because you're playing with a 2014 Warlock. You choose the 2014 version of the subclass. You have a 2024 Wizard who has just leveled up. Because you are playing with a 2024 character, you must choose your spells from the 2024 list of spells, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of old spells from previous, from 2014 that you're missing out on, which is a bummer. Your Dungeon Master wants you to create a character for their Tomb of Annihilation game. You create a fighter using the rules in the 2024 Player's Handbook and want to take the Anthropologist background for the adventure. You select that background. Because of the revised character creation rules in the 2024 Player's Handbook, you will need to select an origin feat. And also your background will be what gives you the boosts to your ability score. So you increase 1 by 2 and another by 1 or 3 by 1. You technically also get the Anthropologist background feature, so it's a little bit of a buff in some ways. Your character was created using the 2024 rule set. They have the Great Axe equipped and have the Weapon Mastery feat. On your character sheet, you will click on the Great Axe in your inventory and you will see the rules for the Great Weapon, the Great Axe's mastery property. You created a character using the 2014 character options and have a Great Axe equipped without the 2014 or 2024 Weapon Mastery feat. When you click on it, you do not see the Weapon Mastery property because you don't have access to it. If you say take the Weapon Master feat or gain access to the ability to unlock Weapon Mastery down the road, you will then see that option on that character sheet. You want to reference the rules for exhaustion, which were overhauled in the 2024 Player's Handbook. When you navigate to conditions on your character sheet and click the entry for exhaustion, you will see the 2024 ruling for the condition, but you will also see the 2014 rules. They'll just be marked as legacy. You have an existing cleric character with the created with the 2014 rules. Legacy content is already enabled as a source. You would like to prepare Healing Word. When you click into your known spells, you'll have the option to choose either 2014 or 2024. And it goes on to show you again, here's some of the legacy content for spells. I am wondering if these are just somebody's homebrew: Bright Sparks, Drafin's Bane of Excellence, Flowering, Holy Word, or maybe we're getting a preview of some future content that we don't know about. Again, it talks a little bit here about, again, the updating of the names and the changes of the actions and things, which we've basically already covered. Now, if you are in the character builder, right, here you're building a brand new character. Here is the 2024 rules. Expanded rules covers the Artificer, and down here under Legacy, you can see all of the old versions. So if we were to click Wizard, right, let's click Wizard. Wizards in 2014 get their subclasses at level 2. You'll scroll down under Arcane Tradition, and you'll see expanded rules. All of these are listed as Legacy. You'll see the critical role options and then any homebrew versions that you've made, right? That's easy enough. Now, if we were to go create a wizard with the 2024 rules, which is what we're seeing here, we have to put ourselves to level 3 to get our subclasses. We also don't have any optional features in here, just as a reference. And we go to choose our wizard subclass. We're going to see the core rules, which are the current versions: Abjurer, Diviner, Evoker, and Illusionist. We'll see the expanded rules: Blade Singing, Order of Scribes, War Magic, and we'll see our legacy content, which is everything else from 2014: Conjuration, Enchantment, Necromancy, Transmutation. Now, I went to test this and created a homebrew subclass, but the problem is I had to make it with the 2024 base wizard or it wouldn't work. Again, we talked a little bit about, say, the cleric. If we were to go make a 2024 cleric, and we get our cleric here to level 3, we go to choose our cleric subclasses. You'll see the ones we currently have, all of the expanded rules, and you'll also see the legacy content here as well, right? Death Domain, Knowledge Domain, Nature, and Tempest. So we could choose Tempest Domain, and you'll notice that it will give us all of our options, but they don't click on till level 3. So that's how that works. Now, when I went in to create, say, I wanted to create a subclass, everything you built previously was based on what is now considered legacy, all of these here, right? But if you wanted to make one for the new one, you'd have to click on or create a new version and then choose from the core rules. So again, if we wanted to make a homebrew cleric, we'd have to do this. And you could choose an existing ones. It does actually give you the option to choose previous versions as a template, which is nice. Not just the core rules here, but also your older versions if you wanted to try to copy one. But I just wanted to point out that if you've created a bunch of homebrew under the old rules and you want to use them with the updated core rules, or the new 2024 Player's Handbook, you're going to have to rebuild those subclasses. And I think that's basically the only way we're going to have it, is because you wanted things in 2014, you wanted things in 2024, and that's just kind of how it's set up. The only downside, as we said, is if you were playing a wizard or cleric or any of those classes that we just talked about, and you were choosing your spells. Oh, unfortunately, it's going to have to make me just go through and pick everything. So we're just going to go ahead and do this and pick one of everything and go down the list and say standard array, and we'll just whatever. We're just trying to get this done so we can go ahead and get to the character sheet. I think it should let us see the character sheet. Now, if we go to pick our spells, we go to add spells, you're going to notice, oh, okay, never mind. I thought it was going to only give us access to the 24 spells, but look, it does have access to all of the spells. Okay. The way it was written, it seemed like you wouldn't have access to them. You'll notice that updated ones here are flagged as legacy. There's legacy ice knife, regular ice knife. Although some of these are just updated, find familiar. This is very confusing based on the terminology. It seemed like you were only going to have access to the 2024 stuff. Here's Thunderclap, here's Legacy Thunderclap, Toll the Dead, Legacy Toll the Dead. But like, for example, I could tell you several of these spells have been updated. But like Absorb Elements is not a spell from 2024. but I also don't see some spells that I'm confused. Either way, we'll have to go and dive into this a little bit further, but I just wanted to make a quick video on the change logs. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I will see you all next time.